Hey guys, welcome to my art channel. Thanks for stopping by to make some art with me. For more free art lessons, you could press the button below and subscribe right there on that red button. And I will see you really soon. Now let's get to making some art. Bye-bye. Joan Miro. Miro was a Spanish artist in the 20th century. He was known as being a surrealist and an abstract painter and sculptor. Miro liked to paint objects and people in their simplest forms using just shapes and lines. He also used vibrant colors. Miro was inspired by folk art, cave art, and even children's art. His simple designs and bright colors are whimsical and playful. Hi guys, welcome! Today we are going to be inspired by one of my favorite artists, Joan Miro, who was a Spanish painter and sculptor. And I hope that you watched the slides and saw the details of his paintings in particular and the very simple uses of line, shape, and color that he used to make these playful, whimsical little people, and that's what we're going to do today. The first thing you're going to need are scissors, markers, either oak tag or a piece of cardstock, even like a cereal box is good for this, and a pencil and some paper, because the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on creating our super cool looking little guys here in the style of Miro. And to do that, I'm just going to clear off my table. You can use a pencil. And I'm just going to give you some prompts to use to help you create little guys in the style of Miro. So if you notice in the slides that you saw, they always had like an interesting shaped head. It was never a round head or an oval shaped head. It might have been like, here's an oval, but it's kind of off-centered, and sometimes their hair was very abstract. It doesn't look like hair we see on our heads, but it's just kind of interesting the way that Miro broke down pieces of the human form into that very surrealistic, abstract shapes. So this is something that might be a Miro head. And another shape that might be a Miro head might be something more like this. And I'm coming up with these ideas just from looking at my own pictures of Miro and kind of getting inspiration from his style. So I just want you to work on some little ideas for different Miro heads. And let's see. Maybe another shape was like this, okay? So take some time to create some Miro heads. And the next thing we're going to do is think about the eyes. And a lot of times the eyes and the nose were kind of connected when you're looking at the Miro figures. And they're very, very simple, like dots and lines. This one might be dots and lines going this way, and that would basically make up the face of the figures. Let's say this one might be something like this. So a lot of the eyes you'll find in the Miro paintings are very, very simple. They're just made up of dots and lines. So just come up with a couple of your own that you might consider using in some of your drawings. The next thing that we want to think about with Miro is the geometric forms that he used to create body shapes. So a lot of them were maybe triangular, sort of like this. Some might have been just more oval shape, like this. And they might have been square, more square, like this little guy up here. So I want you to play around with creating shapes that might be used as a Miro-esque type of body. And much of the time, inside the bodies, we see kind of like a checkerboard sort of design on the inside of the bodies. And you could do that same kind of thing, or you can use your own type of patterns, because we're just being inspired by Miro. It doesn't have to be exactly what he did. And then for arms and legs, when you looked at the slides, you might have noticed that they're almost like sometimes stick figures with dots at the end, you know, those very just lines with the dots, just like the eyes were formed. But they're still forming, in the end, these really whimsical characters. And again, the legs as well were just geometric shapes. Not all of them were the same on both sides. Sometimes one side might be just a line and a dot, and another side might be a thicker, different type of figure, different type of form, just like the feet. So I just want you to take a few moments to kind of create maybe 3 or 4 of your own Miro inspired people, because once you come up with that, we're going to go to part 2. Hopefully you have a page full of these very creative Miro-esque people or creatures. And what we're going to do next is we're going to take our cardstock or oak tag or cardboard, whatever you have, and we're going to cut it into 4 or 3 different shapes, approximately the size of, I would say, your fist, okay? And you can make these shapes very abstract. Now, to make this a little bit easier, I'm actually going to cut, because sometimes cutting oak tag is a little bit tough, I'm going to cut them into 4 pieces. We're going to end up making 3 Miro guys, and then we're going to make a little stand today. But I want my shapes to be these abstract kind of anamorphic shapes. Just like something like that. And I'm going to cut out 3 of those. And I'm going to use my last piece to make my stand. And I'm just cutting basically wavy lines a little bit to give this shape a little bit more interest than just a square. Although you can do just squares if you like. That's fine too. So I have my 3 shapes that I'm going to use for my Miro guys. And then the last shape I am going to keep into a square shape. And it should be at least the size of your fist. And the way we're going to create this stand, because we're going to do that first, I'm just going to clear these materials out of the way. You're going to take your square shape and you're going to fold it in half, which is not always so easy with oak tag, but that's okay. You can take a marker and roll it on that fold, and that will help you push down the fold if you're using like an oak tag or a cardboard. So you're going to make this V shape, or this, it's like a little tent, right? Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to have to fold flaps on either side. So you're going to fold, I'm going to draw it to show you. You don't have to draw it on yours, but I'm going to fold on either side these little flaps, and that's going to help turn this piece of cardboard into our little sculpture stand. Okay, so I'm just drawing a flap on either side, and I'm drawing a line on either side, and where I draw the line, that's where I'm going to fold my cardboard. And I'm going to take my pen or my marker, because that kind of helps give me some more force, and fold that down like that. Okay, and I'm going to do that on both sides. So this is your sculpture stand, and it's going to look like that, the two flaps. Okay, we can put that aside for now, and we can go to our kind of wild shapes here. These are interesting shapes, and we're going to draw our little Miro guys, and I don't know why I keep saying little Miro guys, but I guess that's what I named them. So using the drawings that you made on the scrap paper in the beginning, take from that some ideas to create on here. And with this sculpture, you are going to draw your little, see, I did it again, little Miro guys. You're going to draw your Miro people on both sides of the cardboard. And they don't have to be exactly the same on both sides. They could be different Miro people on either side. So I'm going to start with this one, and I'm just going to use some of the elements that I drew previously. And maybe I'll change it around. Maybe I'll keep them the same. That's just to give me some ideas. I'm just drawing them right on the cardboard. I'm using lots of geometric shapes and lines just to create this fun Miro person. And I'm going to make another one on this side. And I think he's going to be different, or she. So this person, this character person is very different, and I'm just going to continue on, and I'm going to draw 4 more, and just have a really good time with it, because these guys are really kind of neat and free. So whatever happens when you start drawing, just let it happen. I think what I like about these Miro-inspired characters the most is that they are so simple. They're just made with these simple lines and shapes, yet they're really kind of cute and fun. And they're all sort of the same style, that Miro style, but they're all very, very different. And that's what will make them really interesting when we put them together in the sculpture, is that they're all very different. And what makes them work together, even though they're all different, is that we're using the same type of line. We're using the simple lines, we're using the checkerboard type inside the body, we're using the dots that you see a lot in the Miro paintings. So that's what kind of brings them together and makes them work together, even though they're all different. Okay, I now have my 6 in total Miro people, and I have my stand. One thing, if you, I hope you noticed from looking at the slides, is not only does he do these people that are very, very simple, he also uses very simple drawings just to brighten up and fill up the composition. Lots of circles and dots and lines, and I don't know if you could see it here on the stand. It's kind of small, but that's how I decorated the stand. So I'm going to draw some maybe circles and some lines, dots, maybe a couple triangles, because I want the stand to be part of the artwork. I don't want to just have a stand. I want it to all work together as one piece. And I started everything just with black marker, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to color it in. So if you used pencil to draw these in, I would recommend going back over everything now that you've drawn it and outlining that whatever you drew in a dark color marker, like a black marker, because when you're looking at the Miro artwork, you'll notice that his figures are all drawn with black lines, and then he goes back in with bold, very primary bold colors, and that's what makes it stand out really nicely, especially because we're not using white paper. We're using cardboard or oak tag. You might have white paper. I don't, but I find that using the black outlines helps really make the whole thing pop out, all the colors pop out. So now that I have my stand and my figures on both sides, I'm going to go back with some really vibrant primary colors and some secondary colors too. And I'm going to color in some areas. I might even use a little bit more black in some areas. And let's see if we can make this a really fun, vibrant piece. And a lot of times, when I'm coloring, and I'm going to be using a lot of different colors, I tend to do kind of like an assembly line, where if I'm doing red, I'm going to do red on all of them first, and then I'll go to my next color. I'm also going to be coloring in the area on my stand. I chose to use some very basic colors of the rainbow, and you are welcome to use any colors that you prefer. Sometimes I find it easier to keep it simple and just choose a few colors. If I choose too many colors, sometimes I just don't know. I get too overwhelmed because I love color. I don't know where to put it all. And you don't have to color every spot. I mean, I'm leaving some empty and just having the background color shine through, and I think that's fine. So you can color every single tiny little nook and cranny, or you could just do certain spots, whatever you feel works best for you. That's the best thing about art. It's all up to you, whatever you decide. I love these Miro figures. They're a lot of fun. I actually saw Miro many years ago, not him, but his work at a museum in Barcelona. Sculptures, giant sculptures, using very simple forms and colors. And they were just beautiful, vibrant and lively. I'm just adding some more color to my stands here. What's interesting about Miro is some of his artwork, especially artwork like this, though very surrealist and abstract, he was inspired by children's artwork, which is very fun and playful, right? So I have done both sides. I have 6 Miro inspired guys here and my stand, and now I'm ready to put together my sculpture. So the first thing I want to do is, in the stand, I want to make a cut. Let me just show you with the ink. You don't have to draw it. I'm just going to draw it so you can see it. You can see that black line. That's what I'm going to cut. That's going to help hold all my pieces together. There's no glue or tape in this. This is just done by cutting slits into the cardstock or the oak tag, and it's strong enough to hold it. If you're using cardstock instead of something firmer like oak tag, you might have to use a little glue or a little tape just to help keep it from falling over. Okay, so I made that little cut right there in the middle, and so that's gonna hold, that'll hold my piece like that. So I can put my first piece in there, but I have to decide where I want my other pieces. Do I want them to go on top of each other like this? Do I want them to come out the sides? So this is another artistic decision that you have to make. How do you want to create the sculptural part of this piece? How do you want it to look? So I did this one going straight up and down. I'm thinking maybe I'll try this one on the side and see how it works. So when I make the slits for the, I'm just going to take this out and show you. I didn't make a slit on the bottom here, but I am going to make a slit over here because I'm going to have one of my pieces coming out kind of like on an angle. But I'm also going to make a slit for the piece that's going to go into it. So I'm going to make two slits, and that's going to help make a really nice connection and hold it together. So I'm going to cut on that line that I did, and you can make these little cuts anywhere, and they just are these short lines. Maybe they're about the size or the height of the width of my thumb here. See that? And then this way I can join these pieces together without glue, and they will stay like that. So that's just an interesting way of joining my stuff together. And I'm going to do the same thing with these two. I think I'm going to put them right over here. I'm going to make a little slit up here, and then I'm going to make a little slit down here, like that, just about the size of the width of my thumb. And then I'm going to join them together by pushing the slits together, pushing one slit into the other, like that. I think with this, and especially because I'm using oak tag and it's pretty strong, I could keep going and I could add, you know, more and more on top of each other. It'd probably be pretty strong. So let's experiment. I'm going to put a slit on the bottom here, and this guy's kind of narrow, so let's see what happens. It could fall apart. It might work. Let's see if we can put it all together as one. Oh, look at that. That's pretty fun, huh? But I think what I'm going to do is take it out of that, oops, and put it in this big one here. And let's see if we can get it to work now. That's pretty fun. I think because it's a little top heavy, I would have to take this down to something, but I really kind of like the way that looks. That's a lot of fun. Now you're going to have one with 3, which is fine, but you're welcome to add to it like I added to mine over here. And here you have your Miro sculpture. I hope you enjoyed making this, and I will see you really soon.